Hi everyone, thank you for joining today's live. If you can hear me, just indicate on the chat. If you can hear me, kindly indicate on the chat. Thank you very much. Um, my name is Sam, and I'm a PhD student at the Natural Resources Institute of the University of Greenwich. And in today's live, we're going to look at how to apply for the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship, that is the Master Scholarship that is offered by the Commonwealth Scholarship Commission. And in this, I'm going to offer this advice. It's personal. I got the scholarship in 2019 to pursue an MSc in food security at the University of Warwick, but I opted to go for the Chevening scholarship, and that's how I started my MSc Agriculture and Development at the University of Reading. So in today's video, we are going to go through the application process and also going to look at how to write award-winning essays for your scholarship. And if you have any questions, I'm also going to answer them in the chats. So kindly keep in touch. And also, I'll also be hosting some two other guests in the coming weeks who've gotten the scholarship in different areas. That is international development, and someone also in public health, nutrition, and someone again in international development. So thank you very much for joining again. And if you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe. Some housekeeping. I'll be answering your questions later after the video, and also you're free to reach out to me privately if I'm available. I can always look at your essays, and but the primary place for us to engage is through the channel. So without much ado, we'll go through to the Commonwealth Master Shared Scholarship. And the Commonwealth has different scholarships. So specifically, this one is referred to as shared because your expenses are shared between the Commonwealth Scholarship Commission, which we can always refer to as CSC, and the other part of your fees or expenses is taken up by the university. But for those who've applied for other scholarships like Chevening, the difference in that is that for this scholarship, the university plays a very huge role in the selection process. And that means you have to write good essays. You have to show that you grasp what that is the subject which you're applying to. You have to show that because yes, the first point of selection is actually the university. So in this case, I'm going to take you through the selection process. And the first thing that you have to note is the timelines. So this scholarship opened last week, and it closes on 13th of December. That is in a month's time from now. And then from there, what happens is that each participating UK university will have its own recruitment process. So, for example, you might be applying for a course right now, and then it asks you whether you want to be considered for the Commonwealth scholarship. That is one way that you can apply. And the scholarship is also based not in all universities and not all courses. So the courses are already selected in 6 themes, and the 6 themes you can read them through in the website. And I'm going just to go through them right now. We have access, inclusion, and opportunity. And then the second one is promoting global prosperity. The third one is science and technology for development. The fourth one is strengthening global peace, security, and governance. The fifth one is strengthening health systems and capacity. And the sixth one is strengthening resilience and response to crisis. So what happens is that once you make your application, the university will select you if you're successful, and they'll forward you to the Commonwealth Scholarship Commission in March, that is next year, 2023. And then the Commonwealth Scholarship Commission will confirm that you've met all the requirements or the eligibility criteria for the scholarship. And once that is confirmed, the universities will be allowed to inform you of the results by July 2023 for you now to start your studies in September or late August 2023. So if you have other questions like issues to do with the stipend, it's almost the same as the one for Chevening, because again, this is the government of the United Kingdom scholarship, and they have some I would call them uh, they have some thresholds of the kind of stipends they give. So the difference between this scholarship and other scholarship, you'll note, especially the Chevening again, because which I know so much about, having also gone through the process, is that this scholarship really has a place for academic merit of the candidate. That is, if you got a first class, if you've gotten awards, and if you've published, if you've done stuff at your undergraduate level, which would qualify to be academic merit or to increase your chances, or something you'd call like scholarships or awards or prizes, then you have a higher chance of getting it. And then also the quality of the plan of the study. So what are you planning to study for your scholarship? How do you link it to what you want to do for your community after you finished? And lastly, which is very important, is the potential impact of the development of the candidate's home country. And this is demonstrated through the development impact statement, which I'm going to look at shortly. And I think when you're completing the application form, of course, they'll have some bio data that you have to fill in, your work experience, describing it in a few words, listing the universities you've gone to, and also listing your referees. But that's not something I would want to look at today. So the main essay that you write here for the scholarship is the development impact statement, which is in 4 parts. And then I'm going shortly to look at the 4 parts of the development impact statement. And because of the word limit, you have to really ask yourself, for every phrase you write, for every sentence you write, what am I communicating? Is it relevant? So those are the questions you should have in your background as you write these essay. So, so the first part of the development impact statement is to explain how your proposed scholarship relates to, one, development issues at the global, national, and local level. And what we mean here is, for example, you want to study something, let's say you want to study food security, MSc food security, for instance, or something to do with hunger and food security, or agriculture or sustainable agriculture. So you, of course, you know issues to do with SDGs, and you know the issues to do with global hunger, you know issues to do with climate change and its relation to food security. You know about the double or triple burden of malnutrition. So, and you can relate that at global level through the SDGs, the number of people who are hungry as per UN reports or FAO reports. And you can also link them to at national level, and then you can now see how they translate at local level in your country or in your community. So you should explain how that scholarship now relates at that level. And then also the first part, you also need to look at development issues connected to your chosen uh, Commonwealth Scholarship Commission development theme and the wider sector. So, for instance, you might have a scholarship that is related, or a course that is related, that falls under 2 themes. For example, you could have a course that is under access and inclusion, but at the same time, the course also falls under global prosperity. So you need to link the theme that wherever your course is based, over 20 courses from different universities that are relevant. So meaning you have to go keenly and look at the course and see whether it appeals to your work experience or your previous study. Why am I saying this? It's because in 2019 when I was applying for the scholarship, or 2018, sorry, I realized that the MSc Food Security at the University of Warwick, I don't know whether it's there this year, so please, I might not know that, but the scholarship, the MSc Food Security at University of Warwick was more of a scientific course. So it was more of learning about biotech stuff, and all those kind of things, GMOs or genetic engineering. But the MSc Food Security, which I was applying to at the University of Reading, again, for other scholarship, was more of a socioeconomic course relating to how do you deal with food insecurity in areas of conflict, how do you deal with food insecurity in areas where maybe in terms of climate change. So, and that not necessarily what you'd look at food security in terms of genetic engineering technologies. So so you have to relate now what you're choosing to study with a theme. So you have to mention the theme during when you're writing the essay, because if you don't mention the theme, then they are not even sure whether you are aware of the theme under which your course is falling into. And then the second part of the development impact statement is to explain how you intend to apply the new skills and qualification after returning home. So, and this is important because you have to link this with the course description. So, for instance, if the course is training you on stuff like, let's say, there's a course I did at my master's that is agriculture project planning and management in developing countries. So, and really, it was training us on how to manage or how to select agriculture projects and how to run them, the project cycle from the beginning up to the end. So, what skills would you gain from such a module, and how would you take them, or how would you use them when you got back home to proceed with your career? So in that case, you have to be specific on how the course you're applying to, or the skills that you're going to get, the competences and the knowledge and the qualification in general, how you're going to apply it, how you're going to use it. So, and that needs to be, you need to specify. Some of these things you can get them from the course description and in the website. So you might have some universities where they say, when you do this course, most of our graduates go to these kind of careers, or this is what they are doing. And also, of course, you also have your own career plans, which you can plug in to explain that part. The third part, you should outline what you expect will change in development terms following the scholarship. So, and this is divided into so what are you going to achieve, that is during the award. So, and exactly here you need to know, why are you going to do this course? What do you want to gain at school in the 1 year that you'll be doing your masters? So, for example, you could say about the networks that you might create, and how those networks might be important to you when you get back home in solving some of the challenges in your country, especially the challenges that require cooperation and sharing of knowledge and collaborations. The other part you could maybe think of is, what other things do you want to pursue other than academic at school, and how do they link to your career? And also the academic issues, how do they plug in into your career? That is how we expect to see the changes or your study plan. So the outcomes you aim to achieve and the time frame of the implementation, and who the beneficiaries are. And this is again divided when you're talking about your career. Of course, when you're talking about what you expect, it's divided into during the award, that is during the 1 year. So you really need to focus on what you can do within that 1 year, things that are realistic that you can achieve while doing the master's course at the university. The other part is the first 5 years, which for me I consider them to be short term. So you need to be aware of what do you want to do in the first 5 years, and you need to have time frames. So you need to say, for example, because you'll get the course, if you succeed, then you'll do the course in 2023 up to 2024. So you'll be talking about what do you want to achieve between 2024 and 2029 in terms of your career. And then, of course, there's that other part that is long term. And then for everything that you mentioned there, you need to link it up to the scholarship. So you cannot just say, I want to go and train 100 farmers on in my community on how to mitigate or deal with the effects of climate change. Then you're not you need to link that with the scholarship or the course that you're going to do. So so everything that you write here, you need to go back and refer it back and mention it in terms of the course and also the scholarship. So the time frame is important. So I've said about the 5 years, and then the long term, it could be what the things you want to do for your entire career. And then you also need to be very careful and key when, because you need to mention the beneficiaries. You cannot just say, I want to go and help Kenyans or Nigerians or Malawians deal with food insecurity. You need to say, you need to specify. There are things we call intersectionality in research, and this means you might be wanting to deal with youthful, women, farmers who also dealing with the effects of climate change. So that is one group, and you specified that you're dealing with young farmers, also young women, and we're also dealing with the effects of climate change. You could also be dealing with, let's say, you want to help maybe reproductive health of young people. So you need to think about the beneficiaries in terms of their number, and give realistic numbers, and also be specific. Do not just say farmers. There are different sections of farmers. There are large scale farmers, there are small scale farmers, there are poor people in the community, there are women in the community, there are men. You need to think about the beneficiaries of your study before, or when you're thinking about the career plan. So that is the third part of the development impact essay. And then the fourth part should outline how the impact of the candidate's work would best be measured. It should be confirm what the candidate's award objectives are. And I'll say this is it depends on what you want to achieve during the course when you're doing the course, and how each of them again translates into the scholarship. How does the scholarship help you meet that goal that you want to achieve while you're doing your masters? And of course, please list like three, depending on the word limit that you have, or four. And then I've talked about the career plan, the 5 years, and also the candidate's objectives in the longer term. And again, I repeat, please, as you mentioned these objectives, what you want to do, please remember to connect it to the scholarship itself, because you have to. It's like you're telling them, without this scholarship I will not be able to achieve these goals, and that's the reason why I'm applying for this scholarship. So you need to link them up. You need to don't just say what you want to achieve in 5 years or listing. You need to mention how the scholarship helps you achieve that. The other part that you have to write is also a personal statement, and this personal statement is important because it summarizes the ways in which your background has encouraged you to pursue the particular course, and how you've made the impact in your course. So, for instance, if you are disadvantaged, if you are a refugee, if you didn't grow up with parents, or if you had challenges, like let's say if you grew up in a conflict zone, so how do you connect such issues with your scholarship application, and how would you say you've also contributed to your society? So this is really a personal statement where you can actually discuss personal issues. So issues to do growing up as an orphan, growing up in poverty, missing meals. I mean, all those kind of things that people think they are personal, then they have a place here, and then you need to summarize them and show how those issues have influenced you, and how you've made, or you're planning to make an impact in your home country. So if you overcome any of such barriers to get where you are, then you need to mention such issues. So then the other part, which is important, and we keep on saying people need to look for opportunities to volunteer, is how you've engaged in voluntary activities, and the opportunities, how you've grown your leadership. And this should be summarized. So what here they are looking for is whether you are a leader, and other skills, transferable skills like teamwork, communication skills, problem solving. They need to come out clearly in this area. So, and the reason why they're important is because they kind of show your attitude. They confirm other issues, whether because I mean the university is looking for someone who'd say an individual who is holistic, someone who's not just academic. They also have other issues they are doing in their lives, like participating in voluntary activities, and they would also want to know the issues that you are passionate about. So one of the things that you have to note about this scholarship is that as we said about the achieving scholarship, again, you have to download these questions, and once you work on a Word document, and then have someone to review them, and ask yourself, because due to the word limit, ask yourself, for every phrase, ask yourself, how relevant is it, whether it's adding value to your scholarship application. The other thing probably I might add is that please do not copy. Do not copy essays, because once you do that, of course these issues, they have plagiarism checkers, and this will impact you negatively on the scholarship. And finally, also please know that this scholarship really if you do not stand out academically, like if you didn't get first class honors, there are also other ways of showing that you're passionate about your subject. So please make sure also write, if don't use the same, maybe I would say don't use the same personal statements you've used for your achieving scholarship, because this personal statement here really wants to know whether you're actually passionate about your subject, whether you know your stuff. Let me put it in that way, whether you know your stuff. So what really I would say is that I'm going to release a video tomorrow on how to write an award-winning personal statement, because remember, this application goes directly to the program director. So this is not like Chevening, because Chevening used to go to a reading committee, and a reading committee might not even be aware of that subject, because they are just people who go through your essays, leadership, networking. For this one, the first place it lands is actually at the university. So meaning whoever will read your statement is someone who is a member of the faculty, someone who is knowledgeable. So you need to show that you know your stuff. So make sure here you shine when you are writing, when you are saying the kind of research you want to do. Make sure you're able to refer to getting to the university's website and knowing about the course more and more, and deeply also researching on what possible areas you could collaborate with the professors or the teaching faculty at the university. um, um, I don't know whether there's anything I can add right now. I can take questions. So um, can you give examples of how to connect your essay to the scholarship? So I don't know what part exactly. If you can clarify that as we continue, then it would be better. But what I mean is that when you are giving examples of how to connect your essay to the scholarship, let's say one of the courses you've chosen has a module on uh, maybe science and technology for agriculture, or sustainable agricultural technologies. Then probably how you can link with that is that, let's say you want to help 500 farmers in your community embrace maybe cheaper technologies that are accessible. So then in that module, is there anything that you can pick that can help you do that? So in that way, you're linking the scholarship that you're applying for to what you want to do in the future. At the same time, remember, keep on referring to the theme, keep on looking. These themes are explained in the website. So if you look at the themes like access, inclusion, you'll be able to know the courses that are there, and you need to keep on referring to the theme again, and seeing whether you are talking to the theme. So like the theme of global prosperity could be stuff on development, or stuff on, if something to do with peace, then what does it mean, referring to the skills you've learned there, and how the skills you learn in your course and how you link them to your community, and again to the theme, again at the wider theme for the scholarship, and also global issues in your area. So that's one thing that's one way you can link connecting your essay to the scholarship. The other thing I would say is that please, for this scholarship, you can apply as many as possible. So you're not limited to applying for one course. So I remember before getting the MSc Food Security at the University of Warwick, I had applied to 6 others. And here, one thing to note is that every university is allocated a number of slots. So I think I saw this week the University of Stirling, which is in Scotland, which is more of business-oriented courses, has been allocated like 6 Commonwealth shared opportunities. So that means if a university has 6, then there are higher chances of you getting selected if a university has been offered 2 slots, because these slots are not equal across the different universities that are participating in this scholarship. So one way I would say is that please look at the courses that you're applying to, because the courses could also be falling in different themes. So you could have a course dealing with development studies falling under global prosperity, and also another one maybe another course related to development, but falling under the theme access, inclusion, and such other themes. So you really need to go back to the themes, as in the website, go through the themes and really see whether you qualify for more than one course, and apply to them. The reason why this is important is also because you need to maybe spread your net wider for scholarships. These scholarships are really competitive. So, and if you just apply for one and wait for it, please know that the competition is also very stiff. So you have to apply to more to get at least because sometimes also, as you know, I've had friends who've applied for other scholarships like Shivning and they've gotten them. They've applied for Commonwealth and gotten them. And the moment they opt for another, they give a chance to people who are on reserve or who've been placed on reserve to be upgraded now to become successful. So apply to more scholarships and also reach out to people who've in your field, especially people in your field, because I would say for Commonwealth, you really need to get someone in your field to review your essays. Um, People who are not, for example, I'm not in public health, but I know a few things in public health institution because of my knowledge in food security. But at the same time, when you have someone in your field, they might know the current debates and the current arguments or perspectives in public health nutrition right now, other than someone who is generally in international development or food systems like me. So getting someone who is in your field to review your essays is quite important at this level. And also someone who's gotten the scholarship can help you just structure your arguments to ask yourself whether are you saying the right things, are you really communicating when you write your essays. Gender and development, global development. Yes, Mtinta has says, yeah, those two courses are related, meaning you can actually apply to both. So for each course you apply, you have to write different essays. Of course, you have to, because um because these essays are really talking into your study plan. There is no way what you want to do after, maybe in your career after the course, will be the same after doing MSc or MA Gender and Development and MA Global Development. They cannot be the same. So you really need to tailor every application for every university you apply to. Try and change a few sentences of your essays. Not, of course, not everything you'll have to change. Some things will remain, but try to change some phrases in your scholarship application to reflect the issues you want to address in your country. And also your career might change based on the course that you are going to take in different universities, because you also have to let the course link up to your career aspirations. So is one supposed to apply to the Commonwealth portal and the universities too? I was going to go to that point. Yes, you should apply. Everything should go through the Commonwealth Scholarship Commission's portal, and that means there's no other way to apply for the scholarship. And I would want to highlight this because it's quite important. If you go through the website, they have something they consider as the selection criteria. The selection criteria for the scholarship for 2023. So when they talk of academic merit, they are looking at examination results. Remember, you'll attach your transcripts and your certificate, and your referee letters or your reference letters or recommendation letters. So what will your professors write? So if you have a personal conversations with them, and they might actually indicate how good you are in class or how you're good in a certain module or how you develop some certain skills, then because sometimes we do have those kind of referees who ask for your CVs, or you have a personal conversation and you can actually, when you're requesting for a reference, sometimes it's also good to ask your referees to what, like, highlight what is needed. So for example, here, if you're asking for a reference from a professor or someone who taught you, you could tell them, please highlight my academic capabilities because it is important in the scholarship. The secondary indicators for the academic merit could be academic prizes or awards. I had said that. Other relevant academic achievements, like being on the dean's list, and publications where appropriate if you have been published, because some people get published during their masters, then that's important. So the other part is the quality of study plans. So the primary indicator here is statement of what the candidate wants to learn and how it relates to the objectives. So when people are reading your study plan, they need to connect. I want to do this course, and I want to do, after finishing it, this is what I want to do. So that kind of connection really should come out in your application, and it's what the scholarship commission plus the university, of course, will be looking at when they're evaluating the applications. So there's also the extent to which the proposed course and institution of study have been well researched. This is quite important, and we've always been addressing this when you're writing personal statements to universities. So you should include specific options and dissertation topics where appropriate and presented. So what it means is that go deeply and do not, for example, please do not say you want to go to a university because the library opens 24 hours. Of course, all universities in the UK have 24-hour libraries, especially during summer. No, not winter, of course. But when you talk about, if you're going to do a scientific course, if you talk about the labs really stand out for people who want to do lab experiments. Other things, if you want to do development studies, some universities like University of Sussex really stand out in the UK, and also University of Manchester when it comes to development studies in the UK. So if it's stuff to do with agriculture again and forestry courses, the other universities that stand out. If it's public health nutrition, then the other universities like London School of Health and Tropical Medicine, which also stand out. So you need to know about the university, and you also need to know the course and speak to the department. If there are some faculty members you feel their research interests align with yours, if there are certain maybe other things that the department is doing, then you also need to highlight them in your study plans. So this is quite important now. One of the secondary indicators, meaning it's not as primary, it's not as important, but it is important, is existing offer of admission to the course. So if you already have an offer for one of the courses on the Commonwealth or eligible for the Commonwealth shared scholarship, then you might have a higher chance because already you've gotten the offer. But then again, when you're applying, you need to write a very strong, because of course, if you've applied already, you can't change that, but you also need to write a very strong one. So do not write the things we wrote because at achieving level, because here this is quite competitive, and the personal statement and the scholarship application will be read together by people in your field, not necessarily the way achieving scholarship is. The scholarship is evaluated by someone else who is not necessarily an academic, but then you get an offer, or your application is reviewed, that is, a university application is reviewed by someone in your field. So in this case, both of them are reviewed by someone in your field, and that's the reason why you need to write proper statements. Development impact. So primary indicators, the extent of the need. So you need to show how the plan of study research relates to development in the sector and the country. So for instance, I always advise people that you need to pick a challenge in your country. Of course, you have the statistics. In my case, I used the data provided by the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics that showed the number of people who are affected by food insecurity and malnutrition in Kenya. And then I would use that and say that is what is motivating me to pursue the MSc food security. For example, in your case, you could use data about epidemics or health issues in your country. You could use data on gender disparities. Of course, use data that is current. I always say that. And if possible, please refer to government reports. If possible, at this level, refer to government reports. They are quite, and refer to the latest ones, and make sure that it's something that if they Google, they can be able to see it. So that's how you can highlight the problem. And then from that, you link the problem with the course that you want to pursue. So the other thing for development impact is the expected outcomes. So of course, you're not just doing the course for the sake. What do you want to do after the course? What issues do you want to address? What problems do you want to address after you've done the course? And how does the course link now to the issues that you want to address? So for instance, and this you can get them from the modules. And how, remember, your modules also have been described. Each of the modules in your course, there's a description for the module. So what kind of skills you'll gain and what kind of things you can do from the knowledge of that module. So if you are doing, let's say, something on issues to do with gender and development, then and knowing that issues to do with gender are linked with development, because when you leave a certain group of the community behind, like women, you're leaving more than 50% of the population, or close to 50% of the population behind, if you are not engaged in development outcomes. So then how would you link a module on gender and development? Because I know that's a module in most universities that offer courses in development. So how would you use the knowledge in gender and development now to address a problem in your country? So those are the kind of things now, and I'm discussing the module, not the course. I'm discussing just one unit of your masters. So the other thing you indicator of your development impact would be the way and extent to which the candidate proposes to apply new skills and qualifications. How does this relate to development? So sometimes I mean, I remember reading someone's statement the other day, and they wanted to do MSc project management, but then they wanted to do a lot of stuff in their career were on gender development. And I was like, why would you do a course in project management just to go and address issues in gender and development? I mean, an MSc project manager would help you to maybe manage projects better, and they do not have to be gender or women oriented projects. But if you really want to address issues of women and development, or gender and development, then MA gender and development would be the appropriate course. So you need to show that kind of combination. You need to show that they are related. So some courses are general, and so like I've said, project management, it would mean you can manage even an IT project, you can manage any kind of project, and anything can be a project, including rolling out a new policy in your country. It could be seen as a project, or an IT or an agricultural project. So the secondary indicators for the development impact would be reference to a national development priority or capacity shortage. So this is what I've said, using data at national level. And if you're able to link that again to, most of our countries have Vision 2030s, Vision 2050s, some development blueprints or strategies, then if you can refer them and link now those ideas you have to national development plans, then that would be great. If you have a shortage of, let's say, public health professionals in your country, then you could link that now and say that's one of the problem you want to address. So keep on referring to the selected Commonwealth Scholarship Commission theme. That one I can't emphasize again, and please note that. So the extent of the benefit. When you're discussing the beneficiaries, please be specific on the number. So be realistic on the numbers that you give, and also be specific. As I said, please do not say farmers. There are different issues to do with farmers. There are women farmers, there are low-income farmers or small-scale farmers, there are large-scale farmers, and so you need to be very specific on the kind of issues you want to address, or the beneficiaries. So if you have demonstrated commitment to development agendas through voluntary work, then that's great. So think of the things you've volunteered in. Have you volunteered in issues with community health, cleanups in your community, fundraising for food, or leadership or mentorship in your community, or mentorship of young girls, and then linking that with your idea for gender and development? That's like a very perfect combination. Mentorship of young girls or young women, and linking, and maybe you want to pursue something to do with gender and development. So leading or participating in relevant projects or programs, those are also another issue that you might want to address. So I'm going to now look at the questions back again after that. So I have answered that. So for each course I apply, I have to write different essays. Yes, but you need to just tweak them so that they are relevant to what you're applying. So yes, I've said you need to apply to the Commonwealth portal and also the universities too. And you could start with the universities as you write the essays. As I've said, I'm going to do a video on how to apply to the universities. It could be ready tomorrow. It could be ready by late in the evening. So, hi Samuel, any one of you who has applied for business courses through Commonwealth scholarship and succeeded? I would say yes, I've met them. Because again, these courses, there's no way, for example, University of Stirling could be having 6 courses, and then they are not, I mean, the scholarship commission is not interested in getting them. As you've seen, the themes, so look at the themes and look at the issues under which theme, the issues you could apply, or the issues you would address under each theme, so that you you speak to the scholarship. Speak to the scholarship. Remember, again, keep referring to the theme. Keep referring to the theme, and the themes are explained in the website clearly. And if you have any questions towards the themes, you can always drop a message, and I'll be able to answer that. I've also said that I'm going to host two other or three scholars in the coming weeks or in the coming few days. So, and you could also ask specific questions again, and also try and reflect the kind of careers they took. Like one is in research and development, the other one is a public health nutritionist, working also in research in food systems, and the other one works for the World Bank. So I'll be hoping to host them in a few days. So how important are the publications or awards Commonwealth seeks in the application? What of if I don't have any? How will it affect my application? I mean, I didn't have any publications by then, so so if you have no publication, do not worry. But please, if you have a way of discussing your academic merit, then bring it up. And I've said it could be awards, it could be prizes you've won, it could be scholarships you've won, it could be being on the dean's list. But please make sure we're only referring here to what you did under your undergraduate. So if you um, I wouldn't say you'd want to highlight if you are top 10 nationally in your high school exams, because yeah, we are on another level. So it's not high school. So maybe what you did in your undergraduate could be you could use it. And also, one thing you also have to notice that not many people will have published at this level when they're applying for your masters. Only a few universities allow undergraduates to proceed, or maybe not many people have a chance of publishing their undergraduate dissertations into journals. But then this scholarship means if you have a master's scholarship again, because people have already done masters and what a second one in the UK, then people would have published sometimes. Or so really publications are important, but I doubt it's maybe just a few, not even 5% will have published among the applicants who will be applying for this scholarship. So yes, they're important, but if you do not have them, look for other ways to show that academically you are qualified to do the course. So must all essays be in prose form? Can I use bullet points for the objectives during the study? I mean, you can use bullets, but use complete sentences because you are listing the objectives. So I would say yes, you can use bullet form. Also, maybe when you're talking about your employment experience, where you are listing your employment responsibilities, where you were working before, then that can be in prose form. But when it comes to some parts of the development impact, then you have to write in prose. Like when you talk about your long-term career plan or what you want to achieve in 5 years, then that one I would go for short paragraphs. Paragraphs maybe very short, which explain. And again, I said you have to link to the scholarship again, to the themes and the scholarship in general. So, do I have any other question before and so thank you very much for joining. And if you have any question, you can always reach out to me. Just announcement again, there is also the Swedish Global Scholarship for Professionals. So you can also look and see whether you can apply for that one. And I'm hoping to host one of my friends who got the Chevening Scholarship and the Swedish one, but offered or preferred to take the Swedish one. So again, in the coming weeks, we'll be having that one too. So thank you very much. Enjoy your afternoon or your evening, wherever you are, and let's connect on LinkedIn. Uh, I'm Samo Dunwe Rimo on LinkedIn. Thank you very much, and all the best in your applications.